Today we're going to be asking, why is the US terrible at football? Question is, USA, why do you suck at football? So let's get into it.
For the first time since 1986, the United States men's team has failed to qualify for the World Cup. In fact, the United States has not once qualified for the World Cup between 1950 and 1986. Being the third largest population in the world, you would think that there would be more world-class footballers in the United States. So why aren't there? Hey guys, it's Raymar.
Honestly, I can tell you one little aspect of it as a guy that lives in the US and played growing up. It's pay to play. It's pay to play.
Back again for another video, and with the World Cup going on right now, we're gonna look at why the United States is terrible at football. But before we start, I just want to say that yes, I'm American, so please don't go on the comment section.
There you go.
Like Raymar hates America or whatever, because it's not true. So with that being said, let's get on to it.
Yeah, a lot of Americans tend to do that.
Without a doubt is the biggest sport in the world. But here in the United States, football is only the 7th most popular sport.
Yep.
Behind American football, basketball, baseball, college football, ice hockey, and auto racing?
Yeah.
What?
Yep, NASCAR. NASCAR. That is it. Like, it's that. If you're wondering, auto racing is NASCAR. You know.
Who even watches auto racing? Well, yeah, I don't agree with that list, so let's look at another one. Anyways, so according to Atlas, football is the 4th most viewed sport in the country, but is actually the 3rd most played. But it seems that only the US men's team is terrible at football. The weirdest part is that the United States women's team is actually incredibly more successful compared to them. They've won 4 gold medals in the past 4 Olympic Games, and won 3 of the past 7 Women's World Cups. And look at how dominant they are in the CONCACAF Championships, which, if you didn't know, is basically a football tournament for North and Central America and the Caribbean.
That's because they have actually have a head start ahead of everybody else.
Close to winning any of these tournaments.
No duh.
Clearly see that the country as a whole doesn't suck at football. So why is the US men's national team so terrible? I mean,
the women has a head start ahead of a lot of people.
Once in the last 70 years. Other than that, they really haven't even made it past the round of 16. And like I mentioned earlier, you could see the huge gap of World Cups that they failed to qualify in. So in order to answer the question, we first need to look at a few different factors. I can personally say that here in America, a lot of parents send their kids to play recreational football clubs, but that's really on from like kindergarten to around the end of their elementary years.
Yeah, so honestly, like, cause I'm a director of coaching, and I see this a lot. So like, recruiting kids to come play for your club is such a daunting task, because it's like, especially, you do not want to take a lot of kids from recreational soccer and put them into competitors like right away, because there's a big differentiation and not all kids can do that. So that's kind of a huge problem. But unfortunately, if you have the money, you can play. That's the reality. The people that don't have the money, the fund, the finance and everything, they can't play.
After that, there aren't really too many people playing football because they've either moved on to another sport or just simply lost interest in it. A majority of my friends actually used to play football at a younger age, but mostly because their parents forced them to do so. So I guess the attitude around football here is that it's mainly an introductory sport or seen as a recreational pastime.
Exactly.
One factor we can definitely look at is the amount of playing experience that the United States has with international football. Compared to major football powers such as Brazil, England, Italy, and France, for example, the US trails them by over 300 international friendlies alone, not counting competitive matches, which is a huge amount of playtime and experience that could really help build a winning culture. But that still doesn't really do much to explain why the US is so terrible. So we need to look into a much bigger factor, the level of competition in the MLS or major.
Yep. There you go. There you go.
Even I don't watch the MLS. The only notable world-class talent that ever comes over to North America to play football are retiring or really
Yep.
old players.
Good job.
His name in MLS right now would have to be Zlatan Ibrahimovic, and don't get me wrong,
Now it's Messi.
an amazing player and brings a lot of spotlight.
Now it's Messi.
Isn't as good of a player as he used to be, getting closer to retirement and whatnot. Although I do think he's still way better and informed than 90% of the players in the MLS.
Yep.
So when you look at the homegrown talent in the US, only a handful of them have ever played significant roles in Europe, where the competition and talent is the highest in the world. Players like
Well, the crazy part, because like in US, like when they go over and they try to play in Europe and everything, they fail because like the training is hard, the competition is hard, a lot of stuff. Like to a point where like Landon Donovan, for example, was the one like he went and quit and came back because it's too difficult. But nowadays you have more US players playing abroad. It's slowly getting there, but like it's not as good as it should be because we're still falling behind. Other players are growing, world class player at a ridiculous rapid pace while we're not.
Clint Dempsey, Landon Donovan, and Josie Altidore are the only big names in recent memory that have really represented the US in top-tier European leagues. However, there have been young talent making a name for themselves in Europe. Most notably, the 19-year-old wonder kid from Borussia Dortmund, Christian.
It was in Chelsea, now it's on AC Milan.
The youngest foreign footballer to ever score in the Bundesliga and the youngest to ever score 2 consecutive goals in the German league. He also broke the record for the youngest American player to score a goal playing for the US men's national team. So there's still hope for at least an individual superstar to lead them in the coming years. Former US coach and German footballing legend Jurgen Klinsmann suggests that the main reason the United States does not have enough young talent is because instead of developing kids at a young age to compete at a higher level, the culture here in the United States is against it. At least
exactly.
Whenever a young promising talent is found in other countries, they immediately fly out to join top youth programs like Ajax, Barcelona, or other big youth programs with other kids that are exceptional talents to try to develop and hone their skills.
Yeah, no, that's a big problem here. They don't do that because obviously you need the money. Like I keep saying, like it's literally pay to play. They don't do it as often here. It's whoever has the resources, the finance, and everything that can get the chance and the opportunity to do that. It's not the same. They're trying to change that, but it's super hard to change because everything is super expensive. My club is by far like the cheapest club to actually play for in this age group, like up north. So like it's crazy that the fact of the matter is like everything is relatively expensive.
Here in the United States, that is usually not the case. Minors are not allowed to go professional until they have reached the legal age of 18 or 19.
Yep.
This is also the case for every other sport, not just including football. Young talents aren't allowed to get paid for training and commitment to professional clubs, so of course the best option would be to go international. If someone underage was to get paid for playing a sport, they wouldn't be allowed to go back to school unless they stopped. And that's also another problem here in America. There's a huge stigma that revolves around the idea of leaving school before you graduate. Going to college or attending a university is a very common practice and mindset that people living here believe in.
Yeah, it's like the draft system, which it's the most idiotic thing for a footballer here. Like I had to go through that and I end up injuring myself, my knee, and prospect of that happening was gone. So the aspect, like if a pro team can get you at a younger age and actually get you to develop even more under them is far better. Whereas in college, it's like you're literally everybody's playing for something in that sense, like either you make it or not, or you don't make it or not. Maybe even your team is not good enough or anything like that. But the one thing I understand about it is like the one thing I hate about it is like they get you there and you go through grueling stuff because of the chance of getting drafted. Maybe your stats did not say anything. Instead of like focusing on development even more and training you more, it's like The season is super young, everything is super young, and you have to like it's so short. It's everything like you train so much more. Like I remember I used to have 5 practice a day for preseason, 5 of them a day, right? It was the most ridiculous, grueling thing you go through. By the time the season starts, you're fit, but like you've already damaged and hurt your body so much you carry nicks and here and there. And then you go into the season and it's just the same thing. It's brutal. The weather is brutal. It's everything into it. It's just ridiculous.
This is actually very similar to the situation Cristiano Ronaldo was in when he made the decision to leave school and turn professional, which I did make a video about. Yeah, this is a shameless plug, but you can check it out. It's going to be the card on the top right corner of your screen right now, or you can click the very first link in the description. But anyways, even if you were, for example, willing to leave school and attend Barcelona's youth club, it wouldn't be a good idea to parents to just leave their
Yeah.
kids unless they were willing to go and live with them, which would be very difficult, especially if they had jobs or careers here.
Yeah.
I guess that's just a modern problem that living in a first world country would have. Also, because the sport isn't too popular here, deciding to drop everything for football would seem like a ridiculous idea to most.
Mm-hmm.
That athletes here in the United States must go and finish high school and attend a year of college really brings down their potential, as they aren't being pushed to compete at a higher level until they get to that older age.
Yep.
Because the United States does not have a high level competition, it just isn't as good of an exposure, and thus the talent pool stays stagnant. So if the United States really does want to have better overall athletes, they should get rid of the laws that prevent young athletes from making money or going professional. My suggestion would be to just let them get paid and still let them attend school, because of how important education is viewed here in the US. Because
Why would you do that when, a lot of these universities have major power within the organizations where they're forcing all these schools, these let's say FIFA, for example, all of them, and the governments to put those type of rules and regulations so that way they can benefit from it. Get those superstar athletes into the university and sell out crowds and everything and attract people. They're making so much money from athletes. That's why, like, universities are not gonna pull back from it now. Now you have the NIL deal and everything like that, but most of the time, universities don't want to do that. Then they don't want to give up their asset. That's crazy.
if you've ever been to a college football match here in the US, I'm confident a bunch of 16-year-olds from a top youth club program somewhere in Europe would easily destroy them.
Yes.
So college isn't a good place for talented football players. Or another reason, like Vice Sports suggests, could simply be that I'm the reason why the US men's national team sucks. Wait, what? I'm just kidding about that last part, but yeah, those are basically the reasons why the United States is terrible at football. And I hope and pray that things change someday so that people can stop joking about football in the United States. Because it really sucks when you can't even watch your own country play in the World Cup.
Nope.
Anyways, I'm still gonna watch it, and I'm excited to witness all this great football regardless. So, what do you guys think? Will the US ever be good at football and win a World Cup? Also, let me know who you think is going to win the World Cup this year. I was rooting for Spain, but they're gone, so I hope Belgium will take it. Let me know.
I mean, honestly, I think if for the sake of everything, right? For the sake of this, it's one of those things you have to think about, and I say this all the time. There's so much that has to change in just the starting with the youth aspect of it. Yeah, we don't breed competition like that anymore. Even now, as I'm coaching these kids and stuff, it's crazy how far and backwards and the US have gone, and they keep going backwards, and they keep making changes and trying to improve things. Things are not going to improve until the laws and everything changes first. And that's the far most important part about it. But that's going to be the end of the video, guys. If you guys enjoyed this video, subscribe. Greatly appreciate it. Peace out.